Hey, you guys. So, welcome to this live. I am in my sister's-in-law's office. She has a cool little painting behind me here. And I'm in Idaho this week talking to you about sleep and fertility. So, if you are new joining me, I want to share something with you so I know that you know what I'm talking about. Basically, what the most common thing that I get asked is, how do you improve fertility naturally? Right? And what I'm going to answer that is everybody is different, and we need to truly understand what's going on, why you're not getting pregnant, why you're not staying pregnant. And then we can support you the way that you need to be supported in order to maximize your fertility and get pregnant naturally. So this is the handout that we have been going through. We've done the 9 markers of health. If you want this handout to yourself, just make sure that you message health in the comments below, so I will make sure to get it to you. But last week we went through energy, we went through nutrition and diet, we also went through digestion, hydration, mood, we went through movement, and we've been through stress. So the last 2 things that are left is sleep and menstrual cycle. So we're going to tackle sleep this week, and we're going to tackle menstrual cycle next week. And then I have a lot of other fantastic information for you guys. So if you're just joining me, feel free to go into the guide section and look through any of these that you think you may have a problem with, because my goal is to really, guys, empower you and to help you understand that when you're not getting pregnant or staying pregnant, because pregnancy is a natural process, that something is off, and we need to figure out what that is. And doing some simple lab testing or some investigation will really help you. Your body will help guide you and understand what's happening. Why is this not happening? So this is really, really important. Okay, so sleep is probably the one of the most important things that we need to talk about. My daughter was just trying to get in here. So sleep is one of the most important things, and it's honestly, it's the foundation. And here's kind of the frustrations that I have when people come to me when it comes to sleep. So number one is you can't sleep. You don't know why, you don't know what to do, you don't want to take any pills, and so you just leave it at that. You can't sleep, can't do it. That's a huge frustration. The next one is you've tried everything natural and it doesn't work. And so again, you just give up, and I guess sleeping is just not a thing that you do. And what we want is we want deep, restful, and restorative sleep. And we want to have a routine around sleep that helps us to fall asleep and stay asleep. And I'm going to share a couple of mindset shifts that I need you guys to have to start to believe that deep, restorative sleep is not only possible for you, but it's absolutely necessary. And the mistakes that people make when it comes to figuring out their sleep journey is they don't actually track their sleep. So they don't know, because when you have issues with your sleep, the last thing you want to do is track it, because you know you have issues. And so it gives you even more anxiety to track it. But if we track it and we have data, that means we can figure out what's wrong. That means we can start to also track progress, because sometimes it feels like you're not doing any better, but in reality, there's progress and there's improvement. And then, of course, the other mistake that I see people do is they just give up. They say they've tried everything, and then they say, you know what, I guess sleep is not for me. And if you are a human being watching this, which I'm assuming you are, sleep is important for every single human being, and we need to get 8 to 9 hours of it a night in order to achieve health. And so it's really, really important that we take care of sleep, because it is the absolute foundation of your sleep, of your health. And the reason that I say the foundation, so I compare your health to building a house. And so, and the same with fertility. Your body will build a new human. You will build a new house that has to grow within you. And so most people think the materials and like the house, the foundation, the foundation is nutrition. But I actually say that nutrition is the building materials. So it's the quality of the wood that you use, the bricks, the quality of the materials that you're going to use to build a house. That's your nutrition, that's your digestion. Sleep is the foundation. So the thing, the concrete that you pour before you build the house. And the reason that that's the way that I talk about that is because if we don't sleep well, everything else becomes 10 times more difficult. So when we go back and we look at this graph, at this chart, we see that if I don't sleep well, it's going to be really hard. I mean, obviously, you're not going to have very much energy. You're going to function at a lower energy state. But it also is going to be extremely difficult for you to make good decisions when it comes to nutrition. It's also really common because you're not sleeping well, you're going to have elevated cortisol. That means you're going to have blood sugar dysregulation. So your blood sugars are going to be all over the place. Your mood is going to be all over the place. You're probably going to have some brain fog. You're probably going to forget to drink water. Your menstrual cycle is going to be impacted. You're not going to want to move very much because you're really tired. And not sleeping enough literally causes more stress on your system. So if I haven't made it really clear yet, your sleep is super, super important, and it is the absolute foundation of your health. So we want to take it very, very seriously. Now, if you don't sleep well, I hope that after this video, if you found some insight, I want you to go ahead and post it in the comments what was really insightful, but I want you to reach out for help. Even if you have already reached out for help with everybody and anybody, I'm going to share a really quick case study of somebody that I just started to work with in 2 months ago, and how we've improved her sleep pretty drastically. And I have numerous case studies for people with improving their sleep, people who didn't even know they had sleep issues because they never tracked. They thought they were getting good sleep, and they were getting 8 hours of sleep, but they didn't know how good or bad it was. And it turns out it was really bad. And so we had to do a lot of work to help them improve that, because obviously they felt better as soon as they started to sleep. So the reason that we want to look at stress, or at sleep, sorry, is because what happens during sleep is your nervous system has to relax. It has to feel safe, and it has to feel soothed in order for it to fall into deep sleep. And so if it doesn't feel safe, it's not going to allow you to fall into deep sleep. So it really comes down to your nervous system being in overdrive. And then nervous system being in overdrive is really you being stuck in fight or flight, right? If you're in fight or flight, that's that sympathetic nervous system, versus rest and digest is the parasympathetic nervous system. So we want to understand, why is it that you're stuck in this fight or flight, and how can we switch you into that rest and digest so you can get the deep restorative sleep that your system so badly craves. And the reason that this is so important for fertility is because when you're stuck in fight or flight, the female body, as a protective mechanism, can actually stop ovulating. You will ovulate prematurely, which means you're going to have a miscarriage because the egg is not fully developed to be fertilized, and it's not going to do the replication, all the replication that needs to happen. It's not going to happen. And it's a protective mechanism because you're in fight or flight. Imagine if you're running away from a lion. The last thing that the female body wants to do is reproduce. So it's really, and don't get me wrong, it's really important for the males to sleep as well, because it's going to directly impact the quality of their sperm. But for females, you are doing it, you're carrying the baby for 9 months, 10 months, right? 40 weeks, that it's really important for the nervous system to feel soothed and relaxed so it can feel nurtured and nourished and grow this thing, because it's, again, another stress on the body, right? So not sleeping well causes a lot of stress on the system. Just even if you have lots of stress or not a lot of stress in your life, not being able to sleep, it literally puts your system into fight or flight. So we really, really need to address it. And so let's talk about, why would you not sleep well? And this is where, here's some of the top reasons that I see in my practice, okay? It's a dysregulation of your cortisol, of your stress hormone. So instead of it being high at night in the morning and then weaning out during the day, it's high at nighttime. So it's really low during the day. You're super sluggish, super tired during the day. And then as soon as night hits, you're like, bing, I'm awake. Now I'm going to be up all night. And so it's a reverse cortisol pattern. It's dysregulated. It could be low melatonin, which typically means that there is a nutrient deficiency of sorts. It could be B vitamins, it could be protein, amino acids that's missing. It could be because you're not digesting those things. So it could be because of poor digestion, but it could also be that there's something going on in your digestion that's revving you up. Because remember, parasympathetic system is rest and digest. Rest and digest. So I often see women who don't sleep well, I mean, men as well, they don't sleep well, they don't have good digestion. It might not be terrible, but it's not good. Okay, it's not, this is where we find a lot of yeast, we find parasites, we find other, bugs that are just not supposed to be in there in the gut, and they're causing a lot of distress. The other big things is having chronic inflammation, chronic infections, chronic pain of some sort. Because remember, inflammation is pain. You're going to feel pain when something is puffy. Being puffy is inflammation. That's really stressful on the nervous system. Being in pain is probably one of the hardest things on the body. So we always, always, always want to address that. Where is the pain coming from? What's causing the body to be in pain, and get rid of that, obviously, as much as we can. So you want to essentially, in order to figure out what's really causing your issue. So remember the mistake that I said that people make is they try everything natural and then they say it didn't work. But what they don't actually know is why they are not sleeping well. So if you don't know why you're not sleeping well, everything that you've tried is basically you putting a blindfold on and just throwing darts and hoping that you get to the cause, to the reason. And it just doesn't work. You can imagine that doesn't work. You're not going to be very good at hitting the target when you don't see it. So we need to do testing. We need to figure out, is there something in your digestion? Do you have a bunch of inflammation? You probably feel the pain, but we need to understand where that pain is coming from and why that pain is there. Do you have a bunch of nutrient deficiencies? Why do you have those nutrient deficiencies? And I hate to be a broken record, but it's always this why is this happening? We got to get down to the root cause, and we have to be curious and diligent and persistent in figuring out the why. Because when you figure out the why, then you try natural therapies, whatever it is that the why, it works, and it works fast because you've attacked the root cause. So I'm going to kind of veer off and give you a quick case study. Is this patient, recurrent pregnancy loss? She probably experienced about 4. That was with her old partner. It's been a while since she remarried and looking to start retrying again in a year. But obviously, because of the bad experience that she had before, she wants to see if there's something she can do to prevent the losses. She also had terrible sleep despite having some testing done and doing the melatonin, doing the GABA, doing all of this stuff. And it just didn't really improve. And then, but because of that, her energy has been also drained. So she's not sleeping well, she's feeling tired. And then obviously she doesn't feel very confident going into her fertility journey because of how she's feeling. And she already experienced all these miscarriages back when, she was with her old partner. So here's what we did. Okay, we did some testing, and guess what? She had some stuff in her gut that was not supposed to be there. Her gut had a bunch of inflammation. It had poor digestive enzymes. We found some parasites, and she had some bloating and distension, but it wasn't terrible. We also found a chronic infection that actually is probably caused by her IUD. So she has on a copper IUD, thinking that that was the best option possible. But this is something I'm going to talk about more on, is IUDs actually cause inflammation in the uterus. They're designed to cause inflammation because it's a foreign object inside your body. The body does not want it in there. So it's going to cause inflammation because it's trying to get it out. So she's getting it out. So this is before we even got it out. We start her on a little bit of a detox because we also found some environmental toxins to help support and decrease the inflammation and increase what I call drainage. And drainage is the ability to get rid of things out of your body. So whether that's through stool, through urine, through sweating. And we really focused on having a solid routine around sleep, because often I find when we don't sleep well, we kind of give up on it and you're like, whatever, I'm not going to bother with routine. And it's really, really important. So tracking her sleep, focused on a routine, and we're doing some more advanced stuff, obviously, with supplements and diet. And within a month, we're seeing a huge improvement in her sleep. There's still a ways to go. Don't get me wrong. It's not a miracle, but she feels better. She feels like there's a routine. She feels like she's not waking up as often. She feels more energetic. She feels like she can exercise now during the day. And so it's really, really powerful, you guys. She has less pain in her body because she had a lot of pain in her body, which is, again, a sign of inflammation. So I want to share this with you because I know that there's a lot of you who aren't sleeping well and you've kind of just started to brush it off because you've tried everything naturally. And then when I asked you what kind of testing you had done, you had very minimal testing done. So when it's like taking a medication and not knowing why you're taking it, the chances of it working are not very high. So we have to be smart about this. We have to understand our data. We have to understand what's going on in our body. So when we address it, it actually works. So the three main things that I recommend, and I actually just made a post on that on Instagram, is you have to have a dark and cool room. If you are in front of a computer or you're scrolling on your phone, you need blue light blocking glasses. If you want a discount code, just message blue light blocking glasses or blue light in the comments whether you're watching it live or later, and I'll get that discount code for you. But it's really important to keep it dark. It's going to start the melatonin production. It's going to start to make you sleepy. Really, really important. The other thing that I recommend is to track your sleep. I want you to understand your sleep habits. And the way that you're going to do that is by tracking it. So I use a tracking device called Oura Ring. I'm not affiliated with them in any way. It's just I really like the device because it's gold standard in the alternative healthcare space, and it provides us with some amazing, amazing information. It tells us how stressed you are. It tells us body temperature. It tells us your respiratory rate. It tells us the quality of your sleep. And so I've had patients who said they sleep great, but they're always exhausted. We put an Oura Ring on them. They had 3 minutes of deep sleep. 3 minutes of deep sleep is not enough. Guess what? It was her medication that was causing the poor deep sleep. So it's really important to understand what your body is trying to tell you. I think that in our day and age, it's so valuable to have a tracking device that, usually they're anywhere between $300 to $500, which personally I think is an amazing investment for something that you are going to learn how to use and work with, and you can use it for the rest of your life, right? It's not something that you have to replace frequently. So that's really, really important. And the last thing that I recommend, so dark and cool room, you're going to track. And the last thing that I recommend is keeping a routine. So the routine is really, really important. Our body loves habits. So it loves consistency, it loves going to bed at the same time. It loves waking up at the same time, no matter if it's a weeknight or weekend. And it's okay to have, once in a while, once a month even, it's not a big deal. If you wake up early or later one night, or you go to bed later, that's okay. If you're doing it every night and within a week, you're like, sometimes you go to bed at 10 and then it's 11 and then it's 9:30 and then it's midnight. That's really confusing for the body. It's called the circadian rhythm for a reason. There's a rhythm. So we need a rhythm in our routine. We need a rhythm in terms of when we start to tell our body to get sleepy, when we turn off for the day, and then when we wake up. And it typically matches with what's going on outside as well. You want to open those lights, you want to open those blinds as soon as you wake up to let your body know it's morning now. You want to go outside for walks during the day to let it know that it's light out. You want to start dimming lights at nighttime and even go outside for a walk when it's dark out to let your body know that it's dark now and it's time to simmer down. Okay. Ooh, I know that was a lot. Please let me know if you have any questions below. And really what I'd love for you guys to put in the chat, in the comment, is what was a light bulb moment for you? What is a light bulb moment for you? Many people don't share that information, but the truth is, when you share your light bulb moment, you'll be amazed of how many other people are going to say, that was my light bulb moment too. And you create this kind of connection and you don't feel so alone. It's also just good to reiterate what you've learned so you don't forget it. And here's the things that are important for you to remember as I wrap this up. Sleep is super important. We need 8 to 9 hours of sleep. Do not underestimate the power of that. If you don't work on anything but your sleep, the rest of your health is going to improve. So do not underestimate the quality, the power of a good sleep. And if you don't sleep well, I need you to keep fighting and keep figuring it out. And like there's no until maybe you give up. Like, we cannot give up on our sleep. Sleep is super, super important. I've had lots of friends who are like, I've just given up on it. You can't. It's not an option. Okay. There's a lot of really bad health things associated with poor sleep. And not even to mention like cancers, Alzheimer's, diabetes, not to mention fertility issues. So we cannot give up on our sleep. It's super important. I hope you guys understand that. You do want to test to understand the reason why you're not sleeping. So whatever thing you try is actually going to work, and it should work within a couple of months. If you do it well, keep a routine. Okay, I know that was a lot. Tell me what was a really exciting thing or what was a big aha moment for you in the comments below. Next week, we're going to talk about the menstrual cycle. That's also going to be a super powerful lecture. So I hope you guys join on. Other than that, big love, and we'll chat. We'll see you next week.